Like my cousins loved Keith, like my uncles were down with him. I kind of like saved my dad till last because I was like under pressure because I just wanted, obviously he's like my dad, I don't want to you don't want to let your parents down, you don't want to disappoint them, so I wanted to make sure he ran all the rigorous tests through like my cousins and my uncle until he was like ready to meet my dad. Okay, cool. Then there was like my grandmother. Okay, so like my grandmother, she was a big community lover, so that kind of played a part as well. She was like a big part of the community, so everyone knew her, like, so I guess that was like it is a big thing. So
in fact, talk this, because you can't, go ahead,
just be honest about it.
This is what I'm saying,
So obviously it's like my grandmother knew about Keith, but she acted like she didn't. Like it was so funny when we think back about it, because it's like she knew he was there because he was going to the mosque, and you know, he used to kind of hang around with my cousins, but I was living with my grandmother. It was so unspoken, like it's like we both knew what was happening, but it's like we wouldn't talk about it. It was really bizarre, actually.
And I could imagine, even if she tried to talk about it, her grandma was the type,
she'd be like,
let's not talk about it.
She'd just change the subject, start talking
about
samosas, yeah. It's because I know how amazing Keith is. I know she would love him too. Like I knew that if I loved Keith, she would love him too. So I wanted her approval so she could also enjoy him as like a grandson-in-law or family member as well.
But I have to eat. But one part that she emphasized but didn't emphasize enough, she's a very big part of the community.
I always wanted to bring it up, but it just never felt like the right time. And yeah, for all of you out there who are struggling with that, like wanting to bring up your potential partner to your parents, it's not easy. You do get anxiety. Like I think I went for lunch every couple of weeks with my dad for like a year, and I was like, today's the day I'm going to tell him about Keith today. I was like, so how's work? Like it is hard because it's a big life decision, you know, regardless of it being a racial thing. It's just hard. It is difficult anyway. Like you're basically saying to your family, yeah, I'm growing up and I'm going out there on my own, so just let me go. And then on top of that, my partner's like got nothing to do with our culture. So so my grandmother was in major denial that Keith existed for a while. I don't know if she was in denial that I was growing up and I wanted to get married, or she was in denial that he wasn't, not that he's black, just that he wasn't from the community. He was kind of like an outsider. I think she was like, oh my god, how am I gonna, because again, I was the first one to get married in our family, so I think there was a million things going through her mind and she didn't know how to address it.
Yeah, like Tahera was a first round draft pick for her grandmother. So like, fellas, if y'all watching, understand this. She was like a real big asset. Like, for example, she could get like a doctor, a lawyer, somebody crazy she could have gotten. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like let me talk my shit, alright? So like, she could have gotten one of those if put out there on the market. But she chose to come to New Orleans. You know what I mean? She didn't go to New York. She didn't go to LA. She came to New Orleans. You know what I mean? And her grandmother being the big community, and realize community, that word is used very frequently within this video. Sadly, it is the make and or break of a lot of these relationships, really sadly.
Not even family, community, like that's
because
crazy.
The community affects that family doesn't want that pressure, so now the family puts that pressure on that couple, and sometimes the couple is so fragile within itself because they were so unsure within themselves, they weren't given a chance or time to grow.
It just takes that one, and the whole thing cracks.
That pressure that the family then puts on that couple just breaks it and breaks into shambles.
So sad.
It's horrible. It's totally horrible.
You don't understand how many people message us and they're like, I'm hungry. No, they don't send us that, but they message us and they're like, we're not dating anymore. We were in a serious relationship, but there's too much pressure from one side, or we just can't make it work. And it just breaks my heart, man, because it's love. Like, it's like, it's love, guys. Come on, like, why are we there's so much shit and crap and war and bad things happening. Like, when love tries to prevail, we're just stamping it out even more. Like, I don't care if I sound like a hippie, like, you can call me what you want, but like, come on, man.
Right,
we are the generation of love. Like,
right,
we need
okay,
to
now
embrace it. Keith, obviously, what could he do, right? He just had to accept the situation for what it was, hoping that one day she would come round, because my grandmother was like the big boss, yeah? She was just like, once she's like okays everything, things that start going into play.
She was the godfather of the family.
And actually, Godfather was one of her favourite movies.
Yeah, like
she had the trilogy box there.
She was bad like that. She if whatever she said goes.
Yeah, for real.
For real. Like,
so
you couldn't wage war without her say so.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But okay, so then, kind of like a year before we got married, me and Keith had our first big fallout, our first big fight, and it was tough. Like, it was really tough, because we had been going for quite a while. Like, I think it was our first big, it was. And I was living at my grandmother's house in London, and Keith was living in Birmingham, so we weren't even like, we were doing long distance, right? And I was just so distraught. Keith was angry on his end. I was distraught. There's loads of emotions, and I was crying a lot. I'm a big crybaby, right? So I was crying and crying and crying. Like, I was really upset. So I was on the phone to Keith crying, and my grandmother must have come out of her room and was like, what's going on? Like, you've been crying for like the whole day and yesterday. And I was just like, fuck it. Like, I was in my emotions, yeah. So I was like, Keith, like, this is the first time I had talked about him freely. Imagine, like, of all the conversations and times I could have spoken about him, this is the one. I was like, Keith won't talk to me, like, blah blah blah. Like, I told her the whole situation, and
it's like she had to go ahead and
she just took the phone off me, and she was like, Keith, please talk to her. Like, I can't see her upset. I'm her grandmother. Like, whatever has happened, just forget it and forgive it. But like, she's like, I just can't see her upset. And I just think that it's too hard to talk about it.
Yeah, it's all right. She was a very powerful woman. She still is, actually. And from that conversation that was had, or just the exchange of words, I think she's seen where my respects lied, because I cannot sit there and listen to a woman of a certain age, of a certain wisdom. If she tells me to do A, I have to do A, because one, that's how my mother raised me. Not to ever disrespect or go up against. I have to go ahead and do that. There's a reason for her telling me that.
There was like a reason for her intervention.
Indeed.
Like, God, like, there was a reason.
So I believe.
And you weren't even expecting her to come on. Like, that
not
was
at all.
the most like, for both of us, we must have both been in shock. Keith was not expecting to even hear her voice, considering that she had not even acknowledged his existence for so long.
So I believe, especially what few words were exchanged between ourselves, her understanding what situation we were in, and I explained to her, and so on and so forth. That's where the respect started, and that meant quite a lot to myself, due to the fact that she was able to see me past color. Now she's judging my character. And I'm not saying that she was judging me on color before, but now my character is...
She saw you as whole.
Is what is...
The main contender.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's what I was measured
And I think because she could see how distressed I was, like, I think she also saw, like, this person must really mean something to her, mean a lot to her, that she's going through all these emotions for this one person. Obviously my grandmother knew it was super emotional, but this was something else, and she was just like, I think that must have triggered something in her, that she's like, these guys are for real, like, this is not a joke.
That's where she started, and I say judging me, but I mean judging me in the most positive way possible.
To make sure you were the right person.
Yeah, she judged me on character, nothing else then. So if I was able to show great character as a man, as a person, and if she can see me as a suitable partner, there's no reason why she wouldn't get on board with that.
And then, to be honest, 3 months after that, we got married. So literally, as soon as like my grandmother became a part of it, that was it. Like, we literally got married 3 months after that intervention. Like,
powerful woman.
She really was, yeah, and that was it. And then we got married in March. I moved from London to Birmingham, and 2 or 3 months later, my grandmother moved to Birmingham as well.
She couldn't be without her. Let's keep it true.
Yeah, but there was lots of good reasons for her to move to Birmingham as well, but she was right behind me, like, and from that point on, I literally got forgotten about, and Keith became my grandmother's golden child. Ironically, after everything, like, she's like, what does Keith want to eat? What's Keith? Oh, Keith is coming. I'm going to make his favourite food. Don't do that to Keith. Have you made something for Keith? Is Keith okay? Check on Keith. Have you called Keith? Literally, I was just like, hello.
But it's not only that. Look, listen, if I'm treated well, then you know that she's being treated well. There's no reason why I shouldn't be. All in all, it's tiring to talk about, because when you start thinking about situations and the ignorance that people that they show, it drains you. But
because guys, don't get us wrong, don't think that, oh yeah, once we got married, that was it, like, it stopped. Nah, it didn't stop. It did not stop. But it is mindset. Like, we didn't allow it to affect us. Like with anything in life, you have to build up a strong bubble around you and be like, I'm not gonna, this is something that I care about, I'm not gonna let anything or anyone affect it. When we first moved to Birmingham, okay, temporarily we were in a very, very, very Asian area. Like, the most Asian area in the world.
Must be asking, why is that?
Pakistani, everyone's Muslim. It was just that type of area. It's just where we had to settle for a few months before we got our place, right?
Right. Let's just make that very clear.
Can you imagine? We would go to work every day and people would stare us down.
But nevertheless, we are part of Birmingham also, so like we don't get that much now. We don't get that like that at all. Like we're faces of the city.
No, not because we're faces of the city.
We are faces of the city still.
Oh my god, shut up.
Yo, stop playing. We're faces of the city.
No.
Alright, cool.
We don't get that because, thank the Lord, interracial relationships are becoming a normality because it's so illegal or unallowed for people of different colours to be with each other.
Anybody in Birmingham, y'all know that.
Why are you still talking about this?
Yo, we're faces of the city, y'all. Like, it's straight up.
And this is where we're going to end it because he's obviously trying shit. And did you turn the oven on at least?
Hell no.
Oh my god. So guys, we're going to wrap it up from here. If you want to be part of this discussion, comment below. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, because we really enjoy doing these discussions, chilled out discussions with you. Next time I will try and eat my pizza in the video. Then let us know what you want to talk about.
That shit with you and the pizza. I'm not doing that. You were in there doing AMSRs and shit.
Guys, I really want to do an ASMR.
That's like food porn to me. I don't know.
Anyway guys, we're going to sign out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Right back.
Welcome us back. And we'll chat to you guys
Now
soon.
welcome us back. Y'all get a video from us like once every blue moon. We're like a Frank Ocean album. Like, come on now, yo. We're special.
That vibe, babe.
Easy.
See you guys later.